Throughout history, kings are created in all sorts of ways. Some forcefully take the crown with brute strength, while others use their cunning intellect. Some kings are chosen, and some kings are simply born into it. On April 28th, 1995, a foal with an exceptional pedigree was born at Kyowa Farm, Hokkaido, and given the name of Asaka Halo. The name is a combination of the foal's owner, Yoshio Asakawa, and the foal's mother, Goodbye Halo. Goodbye Halo was a famous American mare with 10 graded wins, and 7 of them were G1 races. Not only that, but she was the daughter of another American racehorse, Halo, which makes her the half-sister of Sunday Silence. Although Halo himself was far from a star racer, he became a leading sire due to his offspring being regarded as legendary parents in Japan. It's safe to say that without Halo, Japanese horse racing would be completely unrecognizable. Asaka Halo's prestigious pedigree didn't stop there. The father, Dancing Brave, was an American-bred, British-trained racehorse with 8 wins out of 10 races, 4 of which were G1, and one of them being the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, or more commonly referred to as the Arc. The Arc is a 2,400-meter turf race that is considered as one of the highest-ranked G1 races in the world. Dancing Brave's win at the Arc earned him the title of the strongest horse in Europe during the 1980s. Additionally, Dancing Brave is the grandson of Northern Dancer, the famous Canadian racehorse with 14 wins out of 18 races who has never finished below third. If we look even further back, Northern Dancer is the grandson of Nirko and Native Dancer. Nirko was an undefeated Italian horse with 14 wins during the late 1930s, while Native Dancer is an American racehorse with 21 wins out of 22 races. His one loss was a second-place finish at the Kentucky Derby during the 1950s. All of this is to say that Asaka Halo's pedigree is undeniably incredible at almost every generation. If Seiyun Sky's unremarkable lineage was considered as commoner status, then the bloodline of Asaka Halo can only be described as the blood of nobility and kings. The owner, Asakawa, had such high expectations for this horse that he decided to change Asaka Halo's name by foregoing the title attributed to his family name. According to JRA regulations, registered horses are allowed one name change as long as they have not yet raced. After staring deeply at Asaka Halo, he said, "Become the best among the children of the Halo lineage." From that moment on, the horse's name was permanently changed to King Halo. Yoshio Asakawa was a reclusive and hands-off owner. He delegated everything to trainer Masahiro Sakaguchi, who had just completed Mayano Top Gun's racing career and would go on to be Durandal's trainer in 2003. Initially, Sakaguchi planned on having Yutaka Take be King Halo's rider for their debut race, but Take was extremely popular at the time and refused the offer. By a stroke of luck, Yuichi Fukunaga, who was barely in his second year as a jockey, happened to be visiting the stable when Sakaguchi received Take's call. Immediately after being rejected, Sakaguchi turned to Yuichi and asked if he would like to be on the saddle instead. Yuichi eagerly accepted. Yuichi Fukunaga was the son of famous genius jockey Yoichi Fukunaga, who rode during the 1960s until 1979, when he was involved in a catastrophic horse racing accident. During Yoichi's race in the Mainichi High, another competitor, Hiromi Saito, fell off his horse while on the inside track and rolled towards the outer lanes. Even though Yoichi tried to avoid it, his horse's legs still came into contact with Saito, causing Yoichi to fall off his horse, slammed his head into the ground, and immediately rendered him unconscious. What was supposed to be a typical day at the racetrack turned into a horrific sight in a matter of seconds that resulted in Yoichi biting off more than 2/3 of his tongue, fractured his skull, and suffered severe brain damage. Yoichi would eventually make a recovery, but it would take almost 6 years before he was able to get on a horse again, and 31 years before he ever appeared in public. Despite his father's accident and his mother's overprotective objections, Yuichi still chose to become a jockey and dropped out of high school to do so. Using his father's reputation and connections, Yuichi was granted many riding opportunities and became the first rookie since Yutaka Take to achieve 50 wins in their first year. It's most likely for these reasons that Sakaguchi was so comfortable suddenly asking Yuichi to be King Halo's rider. In addition, when King Halo's mother brazenly objects to her daughter being a racer in the game, it is indistinguishable from Yuichi's mother. Furthermore, King Halo refers to her mother as world-class and self-proclaims herself as a first-rate Umamusume to pay tribute to the amazing pedigree of the real King Halo and showcase the early public opinion of the horse. However, as we'll soon find out, a strong pedigree isn't always a blessing. Everyone had great expectations for both King Halo and Yuichi because of their familial ties. When the pair ran in King Halo's debut race and won, The overall consensus was, of course they won. It's only natural from their blood. The sentiment was the same when King Halo won his second race. Even when they ran in the Tokyo Junior Sports Cup and won with a new course record, people criticized it was all because of their natural born talent. Rather than being met with praise for having won their first graded race together, both King Halo and Yuichi encountered envy and disregard.
Fuckers hate us because they ain't us.
Although he had not lost a single race since his debut, King Halo could not win the hearts of horse racing fans, but he was voted as the most likely to win in upcoming races. His last race in 1997 would be at the G3 Hopeful Stakes, where he came in second place and lost to Lord Axe due to his path being blocked. The almighty king has been dethroned. After a 3-month break, King Halo returned to the track in the new year and would race against the strongest opponents of his early career at the Yayoi show. At the time, King Halo had the most wins and races completed compared to Special Week and Seiyun Sky, so he was the natural favorite of the day. King Halo was a little slow leaving the gate, but that's inconsequential as Yuichi preferred to ride within the middle position. He remained there up until the last corner and began to accelerate towards the front as they left the turn. As everyone desperately tried to catch up to Seiyun Sky and Special Week, it quickly became clear that wasn't going to happen. Instead of a battle between his rivals, King Halo was fighting against Snow Bomber for third place. He barely managed to scrape by and finished a head's length before Snow Bomber, thus securing his spot in the Satsuki show. In the first race for the Classic Triple Crown, King Halo's popularity dropped from first down to third place. Between the big three, King Halo was now considered as the weakest one. At the start of the Satsuki show, King Halo was quick leaving the gate and claimed the second position momentarily. As everyone entered the middle leg, he pulled back to 5th place and held his position within the top 5 racers until about 200 meters before the final corner. He started increasing his pace and lined up with the lead horse, Seiyun Sky, and continued accelerating as they entered the home stretch. As everyone raced for the finish, King Halo was slowly gaining ground on Seiyun Sky, but the finish line was too close. He could not make it in time. He finished half a length behind Seiyun Sky and ended up in second. After the race, Yuichi Fukunaga said he didn't mind their second place finish, as this was his first race in the classics and it was an overall good performance. A month and a half later, King Halo and Yuichi entered the Japanese Derby on June 7, 1998. Like with a game of musical chairs, King Halo's popularity shifted once again and he was voted as the second most popular horse to win. Expectations were extremely high and all eyes were locked on King Halo and Yuichi. There were talks about how if Yuichi won the Derby, he would set the record for being the youngest Derby winner in Japanese history. He had already proven himself as a competent jockey during his first year and was riding a horse with a phenomenal pedigree. How could the son of genius jockey Yoichi possibly lose? Everyone was excitedly waiting for the race to start. Everyone except Yuichi. He was already nervous as this was his first Derby race, but now with the added pressure from the media and the ramblings of the fans, he started feeling sick to his stomach. Yuichi looked so bad that Sakaguchi questioned his pale, sweaty face, but he brushed it off as just a cold. When the gates opened, Yuichi blasted off at full speed. Rather than running in the middle like he planned, he unintentionally claimed the lead with an incredibly fast pace. When they entered the middle leg, rather than taking a breath to calm down and reevaluate, Yuichi kept commanding King Halo to run in the lead position and did not slow down. Maybe it was the stress from having Seiyun Sky right behind him the entire time that caused him to refuse yielding the front position. Eventually, Seiyun Sky passed King Halo during the final corner. When everyone began making their final spurt for the finish, King Halo was doing the exact opposite. All his energy was already spent in the first 2 minutes of the race. He had nothing left to give. There were 300 long meters remaining when King Halo began to decelerate. By the time he finally crossed the goal, 12 other horses passed him. The exhausted King Halo finished in 14th place. Yuichi and King Halo were unable to live up to everyone's expectations. It's reported that after the race, Sakaguchi did not say a single word to Yuichi. He simply took King Halo back to the stable. As you can expect, the media had a field day regarding Yuichi's performance. Horse racing newspapers criticized Yuichi so much that he was mentally traumatized by this failure. Later in life, Yuichi would go on to say that this was his biggest regret of his racing career and used it as a learning experience moving forward. After the humiliating defeat in the Japanese Derby, Yuichi was temporarily replaced by Yukio Okabe so he could mentally recover. Okabe-san was a veteran jockey and known for being Symboli Rudolph's sole rider, as well as being on the saddle for other successful horses like Biwa Hayahide, Taiki Shuttle, and Tokai Teo. He rode King Halo in the Kobe Shinbun Cup during September, but came in third place despite being the favorite to win. After the race, Okabe criticized the staff at Sakaguchi's stable and questioned whether they were training the horse properly because of its poor performance. The assistant trainer, Kazuyuki Tokioka, asserted that King Halo was vulnerable to the hot weather. During the summer months, King Halo was so weak that he could not even graze properly and spent most of his time hiding from the sun in his stable. Some fans speculate that his heat weakness contributed to his loss in the Tokyo Yushun. Yuichi Fukunaga would return to the saddle a month later on October 18, 1998. The team did not want to be idle for 2 months and decided to enter the Kyoto Shinbun Cup as well. King Halo maintained a good position for most of the race and even took the lead upon entering the final corner. He ran neck and neck with Special Week down the final straight. King Halo was leading by the tip of a nose up until the very last few meters, but Special Week won at the last possible moment. Less than a month later, it was time for the last race of the Classic Triple Crown. King Halo managed a good start at the beginning of the Kikosho and settled around 5th place with Special Week a few places behind and Seiyun Sky leading the pack. Even though Seiyun Sky had a significant lead, everyone remained calm and held their positions during the middle leg. The group began moving up as they approached the final corner with 600 meters remaining. King Halo had great positioning as he hugged the inside rail and accelerated out of the corner. Seiyun Sky was the first horse to cross the goal, and the next 4 horses, including King Halo, were tightly packed together as they ran to the finish line. Unfortunately, King Halo was the last to cross and came in 5th place. With this loss, he was unable to obtain a single crown during the classics. When it was time for fans to vote in the Arima Kinen, King Halo was somehow voted into 10th place, even though his performance was subpar. When the race began, King Halo started in the outer lanes, and although he had a decent start, he quickly dropped to the very back of the pack. He remained within the last 3 positions for most of the race. Only when everyone started approaching the home stretch did King Halo begin to accelerate through the final corner. He still had 12 opponents to overtake when he arrived at the 200-meter remaining mark. As King Halo ran with all his might, he watched his opponents cross the finish line one by one. Although he was able to pass a significant number of racers, King Halo only made it to 6th place. He did not win a single race during the year of 1998. In the new year, Yuichi Fukunaga would be replaced by Yoshiomi Shibata for most of King Halo's remaining career. Shibata-san was a more experienced rider and has been on the saddle for the following Umamusume, Yaminin Zephyr, Machikane Tanhoiza, and eventually Nakayama Festa in 2010. Given their poor performance from the previous year, the team decided to have their first race of 1999 be at the Tokyo Shinbun Cup, where he easily won against older horses by 2 lengths. Finally, after 8 consecutive losses, King Halo was able to claim victory, albeit it was in a G3 race. The next logical step was to compete in the G2 Nakayama Kinen a month later. King Halo patiently ran within the 3rd position, even though the front horse had a 5-length lead. He managed to close the distance after leaving the final corner and overtook the lead horse with 100 meters remaining. King Halo finished in 1st place over a full length ahead of the next horse. With a new boost of confidence from winning 2 mile graded races, the team entered King Halo into the G1 Yasuda Kinen on June 13. Initially, he showed a strong performance leaving the gate and ran among the top 3 horses until after the last corner. Unfortunately, his opponents started passing him one by one as everyone dashed towards the finish. The summer season had just started, so I'm assuming the heat must be draining his stamina because King Halo fell all the way back and finished at 11th place. Afterwards, he entered the Takarazuka Kinen as the 5th favorite to win. Similar to the Arima Kinen, entry to compete is decided by the fan vote. In contrast to the beginning of his career, the sentiment towards King Halo was shifting. He was no longer seen as the unpopular elite thoroughbred. Instead, horse racing fans began to open their hearts to the underdog of a golden generation. They found to love his perseverance after suffering a year-long losing streak. The fans knew he has the potential to win, as proven by his back-to-back victories at the Tokyo Shinbun Cup and the Nakayama Kinen. They hoped to witness King Halo win his first G1 race. Unfortunately, his opponents were too strong, and the middle of July is known to be the hottest time of the year. Despite maintaining a good position towards the front, King Halo ran out of stamina and finished in 8th place. Sakaguchi was determined to have King Halo win a G1. In his heart, he knew King Halo has the body and capability to achieve a G1 victory. He continued entering King Halo into various G1 races throughout the year, which the press highly criticized him for. The team suffered a 7th place defeat in the Fall Tenno Show. During the winter months, King Halo's performance was better, but he still could not win and lost in the Mile Championship and Sprinter Stakes by finishing in second and third place, respectively. His losing streak continued in the next year at the February Stakes, despite being the favorite to win. Everyone believed that this was his chance to shine since his mother, Goodbye Halo, was a dirt specialist, as all 7 of her G1 victories were on dirt courses. However, during the race, King Halo ran in the back the entire time and finished in 13th place. The staff believed his poor performance was due to all the dirt splashing onto him. They claimed that King Halo was a very picky horse and frequently lost the will to run if something displeased him. He hated the heat, rough terrain conditions, sand hitting his face, and the pressure of everyone chasing after him. The king will accept nothing less than perfect running conditions. People assumed he inherited his bad attitude from his maternal grandfather, Halo. Sunday Silence was known to have a bad temper, but it was nowhere near as bad as Halo's. He would bite people so much that he was forced to wear a muzzle. When Halo's owner bought him, he came wearing a muzzle, but they foolishly decided to take it off. Everything was fine for a while, but one day, while out in the field, Halo bit the stud groom, Randy Mitchell, in the stomach, picked him up, and thrashed him about like a rag doll. Even after Randy fell to the ground, Halo got on his knees, climbed on top of him, and continued biting him in the stomach like a deranged zombie. Another person had to punch Halo in the head before he finally stopped. Randy's stomach was black and blue for a month with multiple stitches. After returning Halo back to his stable, the muzzle was put on, obviously. A month after the February Stakes, King Halo ran in the Takamatsunomiya Kinen on March 26, 2000. He ran on the outside in the middle of the group throughout the race until the final stretch. He was in 12th place when he came out of the corner, so the announcer didn't bother to call his name. In fact, the announcer did not mention King Halo's name until the last few seconds of the race. The prideful king refused to go down without a fight and began accelerating as hard as he could. With every gallop, King Halo forced his opponents to acknowledge his presence as he passed each and every one of them. In less than 200 meters, King Halo went from 12th place to 1st, winning the Takamatsunomiya Kinen. The crowd exploded in excitement. Everyone was cheering. He did it! He finally won a G1! After 10 crushing defeats in G1 races, King Halo has finally won. Masahiro Sakaguchi was moved to tears. Fun fact, Yuichi Fukunaga was also participating in this race. He was riding the second place horse, Divine Light, and watched King Halo pass him by at the very last second. King Halo would continue to race 6 more times in the year 2000. Unfortunately, he would go on another losing streak and even lost his second attempt at the Sprinter Stakes, which was the same distance as the Takamatsunomiya Kinen. After the Sprinter Stakes, he tried racing in the Mile Championship once again, but finished in 7th place while watching Agnes Digital steal the win from the very back of the group and overtook every horse in less than 200 meters. King Halo's final race would be at the Arima Kinen. Despite the year's poor performance, the people did not forget his G1 victory back in March and voted him in as the 9th most popular so he could have one last chance at glory. His opponents at this year's Arima Kinen were exceptionally strong, so King Halo was in the very back when the race started. He stayed there through the entire middle leg and was barely able to close the distance upon entering the final corner. Coming from the far outside, King Halo made the last explosive spurt of his career at the 200-meter remaining mark. With all of his might, he dashed towards the goal while passing 9 other competitors and finished in 4th place. Soon after, King Halo retired with a career record of 6 wins out of 27 races. His reign was finally over. After retirement, King Halo was moved to Yushun Stallion Station back in his hometown to begin breeding activities. A king cannot leave his throne without an heir. Given his incredible pedigree and cheap fees due to a mediocre career record, King Halo had more than 100 breeding partners every year and was ranked as the 5th leading sire in 2004. Over the course of his life as a stallion, he produced 1,319 foals, and over 500 of them were winning races. Coincidentally, one of his most successful foals was named Kawakami Princess, who achieved the double crown when she won the Japanese Oaks and the Shuka Show in 2006. His son, Laurel Guerrero, followed in his father's hoofsteps by achieving victory at the Takamatsunomiya Kinen and the Sprinter Stakes. King Halo is also the maternal grandfather of Equinox, son of Kita-san Black, and was rated as the world's best racehorse in 2023. Additionally, King Halo's offspring are said to be weak during the summer and strong during winter months, just like their father. On March 19, 2019, King Halo passed away at the age of 24 while at Yushun Stallion Station. No major complications were found, and it's believed that he died of natural causes from old age. He would be buried at Yushun Memorial Park in the company of other famous horses such as Oguri Cap, Mayano Top Gun, and Narita Bryan. Although his career was not as impressive as his peers, King Halo left his mark in history by becoming the second highest ranked horse in the Smile classification. Only one other horse in history has a better average ranking than King Halo, Narita Bryan. Unlike the distances we're used to in the game, the Smile classification is divided into 5 categories: sprint, mile, intermediate, long, and extended. It was adopted internationally in 1986, and Japan would soon follow suit when they switched to the international standards around the year 2000. Just as how we explored the conditions of one's birth with Seiyun Sky, King Halo's story also teaches us the same lesson but from the opposite spectrum. Being born wealthy or into a good family doesn't guarantee success. You still have to struggle and endure hardships. Only after falling can you pick yourself up. King Halo is proof that perseverance eventually prevails. He will be remembered as a horse of the golden generation with an indomitable will. Like every other king before him, King Halo's offspring will carry on his legacy. Umamusume Pretty Derby keeps his amazing tale alive. Long live the king.
さすがキ